Use the right 3 lanes to keep right onto Macdonald-Cartier Freeway toward Toronto.
Is this the right lane for it?
So this lane's splits. I could also go on this lane eventually. And that lane splits there, and then this lane eventually.
Keep right. In 4.7 kilometers, exit left to merge onto Highway 401.
Hi, Suze.
To merge onto Highway 401.
We never said a prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity to drive home from the temple. Thank you for our car, which works so well. Thank you for these good roads. And thank you for our wonderful day we had. Please bless us as we drive now, that we'll be safe and that we will be aware of all the things going on around us and make all those right decisions. And please protect us. Bless us with angels on the sides of the cars to keep us from all around the car. Keep us
Use
from
the left 2 lanes to exit left to merge onto Highway
car
401.
trouble or problems with animals. Luckily, there won't be many animals here on the road. And we're so grateful for the safe drive we had getting here. This we pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Look at how much fog or pollution is in the air. It's very dark near the surface.
Exit left.
Almost like a dark cloud. I wonder if there's a temperature inversion because of the warm weather.
Could be, yeah.
Don't know. So that was getting from the 410 to the 401. So we're merging into the 401 now, as all these people wish to do. Boy, I'm amazed at how dirty the sky is. We really are
For
blessed to live way
267
out there.
kilometers, continue straight.
And the lake is over there, Lake Ontario. It's almost like it's fog that's rolled in from the lake, but it's so dirty. been on this area of the highway for a long time, have we? We always take Airport Parkway. Any of these places where there's not many people, soon everybody will, it's because of the exits, and then everybody will pile in right up here when they come entering in again. On ramps, I guess. Thank you so much for driving.
Welcome.
I'm writing in my journal. Have to write about yesterday first. I can't believe it's so dirty. And there's another one up there. I suppose I should close the windows. I'm glad I dug up the garden bed for the tulips yesterday.
Yeah.
And thank you for putting the water on the garden bed, the nettle water. Actually, I think it might have had some comfrey in there too.
I think you had, yeah. There's still some water left in there.
Hazard reported ahead in 200 meters.
A hazard ahead at 150 meters. So that's probably an accident, I guess, but these people are not, we're not all stopping, so it can't be too bad. How's your hip?
It's okay, I'm going to try and get something out of my pocket.
Oh. I haven't seen the sky look like this in a very long time.
Uh-huh.
Did it?
Una bebida de energía. ¿No?
This truck beside you, I think he wants to get in. At least he had his...
Good luck to that.
There, he's got his blinker
There comes
on.
Blinker on, okay.
Okay, so there you go. So yesterday, after I did the tulip bed, I went down and cut grass, long tall grass, and I took down willow that I had left over from the roadside I had harvested a while ago, and I wove a wall and I put grass through it, and sort of the back of the swing, my school bus swing. I think it would be fun to be a truck driver. I'm always tempted when I see these things. Wouldn't it be fun? And they're so short of them now that maybe I could get a job being actually just the driver and not having to unload things. I don't know. Probably not.
And you get to go to Ottawa and stay on the street for 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah, right. I wonder if that turned off a bunch of truck drivers. Hard to say. Boy, look at how close these two trucks are.
Mm-hmm.
Inches between the mirror and the truck. Like Mexico. Well, back then it said it was a hazard in 200 meters, but this is a lot further than that.
Maybe if somebody was, like stuck or the car was stranded and it's been towed away now.
Stay in the left 3 lanes.
That's what it was.
So it's 3:47, so this is rush hour in Toronto.
It's not too bad yet. Really, it's been much worse.
Yeah,
on other occasions.
it's moving.
Yeah.
It's one of those giant parking lots here sometimes. And you see this sign here that says 400 North to Barrie. See, it's a crown. That's because we are part of the Commonwealth. Is that what they call it, the Commonwealth, Willem?
Canada is part of the Commonwealth, but I'm not sure that the Crown is the...
It's the name of it is the King's Highway. If you get up really close, you'll read that on the signs, on the actual signs on the road.
Yeah, but lots of road signs have a shape like that. There's a plus sign or a crown, whatever you want to call it, on top of it. I'm not sure, you might be right.
It is. The QEW is the Queen Elizabeth Way, but the Highway 7 is a King's Highway, I think, too. Now it's King Charles. He's so old. I hadn't realized how old he was. I guess I remember him on the news, you know, with Diana. All those years when I had my first children. That's when they got married, right? Lots of trucks. The saying is, everything you have was brought on a truck. Except if you built it yourself. A grass hut didn't come on any truck at all. All those baskets.
And those Jerusalem artichokes I planted.
That's right. All those jars of dehydrated
except the first
food.
batch or two that they got from the store.
Yes. It's time to plant garlic now. I have no garlic to plant.
Okay. This lane, I guess, is maybe blocked, I think.
Is it? They
Well,
seem to be
there's
filling it up.
people-
Maybe it was all the people trying to get off to go on the collector lanes. Collector lanes are pretty backed up as well.
Yeah, it's possible, I guess.
After the revolution, my friend is saying, Suze is saying, after the Revolutionary War, the U.S. got rid of all British names. We renamed streets after trees, not kings. Interesting. Didn't know that.
Well, there's a city called Birmingham, which is named after the English city of Birmingham, England.
And Waterloo?
That's in Ontario, I think.
No, there's a Waterloo in New York.
Okay.
There's also an Amsterdam and a Mexico, New York.
Yeah, but those are not named after England.
A New Amsterdam.
Neither is Washington. Yeah.
I know.
I wonder if there's any other English names in the U.S.
You know, all along the Mississippi, those were French names
Actually,
because the
York,
French.
New York. York is a province in England, right?
Right.
Yorkshire. So.
Look, a car just like mine, except no paint. There was somebody that had his window down and his hand out the window with his thumb up as he passed us. Because at the side of the car it says, "Trust in the Lord." And on the back of his car was a fish. In Ontario, when they're going to have an exit, generally they add a new lane for the exit. But in Montreal, when they have an exit, the lane exits. But it doesn't, it's very tricky in Quebec. They have triangle shapes that point to which side the exit is on. And it could be on the left or the right. They're always exiting, and it's terribly difficult to figure out. You really have to have a dry run before you go. Unless you have GPS. I don't think we had GPS the last time we were in Montreal.
No, probably not. No. Very confusing.
I wonder how long ago we went to Montreal. It's been a
Well,
long
we went,
time.
I think the last time when you had your little injury in Maine, we picked you up and we went through Montreal.
Okay, but the Montreal Temple.
Oh, the Montreal Temple was way before that, I think.
We started going to Palmyra, to the temple there for years. We were workers. How many years were we workers there?
3, I think, or maybe more, 4 or 5, I don't remember. And you weren't supposed to have been. It was against the church policy. So when they found out, they had to let us go.
Us and 19 other couples.
Yeah.
We're not. We have to stay within the boundaries. Your own, where you live. You've got a temple area that you live in, and that's
they call it the Temple District.
and that's where you have to go if you're going to be a temple worker. And we were across the border of the country, plus in a different state. But sometimes the one that you're in the district of is not necessarily the closest or the easiest to get to. As you can see, getting to Toronto and back is a little a little more complicated than just going across the border to taking the New York State Thruway to Palmyra, New York. It's near Rochester.
Yeah, although the last few years we went there, I found the New York State Thruway also getting pretty clogged once we got closer to the temple. It's not much different. It was a bit better, but it was still pretty clogged. You had to be really alert.
There's no temple closer than this. This is, I think we're about midway between Toronto and Palmyra and Montreal.
Yeah.
Equidistance or something.
So Brockville is pretty well the farthest east in our temple district. Brockville is probably closer to Montreal, if I'm not mistaken. And you're right on the 401.
It used
so
to be
you go straight
the
there.
temple district, the Toronto temple district has now been split when they made the, they've got many temples now that were not there before. There was the Chicago temple, there is now the Chicago and Dallas, or Detroit, and Palmyra. No, Palmyra was before Toronto. And now there's the New York and the Boston and the Hartford, and then there's one in, is there one in Halifax? Where are the ones up down east?
I think there's one in Halifax, yeah, I believe it.
Is that the only one? Is there one in New Brunswick or PEI
No,
or
I don't think there's that
Newfoundland?
many. I think there's only one in Eastern Canada. I think it's Halifax.
Okay. Halifax is in Nova Scotia. It's so nice to go to the temple. It's such a wonderful place. I feel so blessed to be able to be in there. So Kiel. So we're right smack in Toronto still. We were in we were in Brampton when we left. That's where the temple is actually, not Toronto. It's on the other side of Toronto. You know, I was looking at cars. You know, all the cars have a name, right? Like the back of that one is Kia, and there's Nissan and Ford and Toyota, and they've got those symbols. I was wondering if there's different kinds of trucks, and I see this one is Wabash National. Now, is that a kind, like a brand of truck?
I think it's the company that owns the truck, isn't it?
I don't know. It's the company. It looks like Speed Force Transport.
Okay, maybe it is a truck.
Duraplate. I wonder if Duraplate is
Yeah,
the.
maybe it is a truck manufacturer. Who knows? Yeah, okay. I think you're right. The advantage of this lane is trucks can't come here. But if if you get if the speed goes up too much, like when it gets less crowded, then lots of people will want to pass us, even if we go quite a bit below above the speed limit. So then they usually go back to the second lane. And when it gets really less crowded, then I can go back to the fast lane.
How many lanes are there? 1, 2, 3.
Three
Is that
collectors.
4 or 3?
I think it's
No, it's 4. I see 4.
collectors.
Yeah.
3 here, 4 there. Okay.
And then, so it's, I guess the same on the
7
other
and,
side.
yeah,
So 14 lanes.
and it's a parking lot, and during rush hour, it's not really the height of rush hour yet.
The LIE, the Long Island Expressway, they used to call the longest parking lot in the world.
Yeah. And they have a toll road 407. But
Yeah.
if you're used to the New York Thruway, you'll be in for a shock. Like for maybe about a 20-kilometer ride, it costs you about $40 or something like that.
It's extremely expensive.
Yeah.
It's a problem with privatizing stuff.
Yeah.
All the roads and all the bridges and the ferries, they're all free. But that one is privately owned. And so it's usually empty, or the people on it are, you know, if you have business expenses,
But you can,
then you can write it off. So I guess business people use that one a lot. And Sue's just said, when we drive into Kansas City on I-70 East, there are 12 lanes of traffic. Always makes me nervous. Yes, it can be nerve-wracking. I like the way they divide it up, though. I like how they've got collector lanes separated from the express lanes.
Yeah, so the express lanes, you got a exit that has no one but maybe 3 side roads, and any of those 3 side roads you have to go to the collector lanes, and then you can go to one side road, to the next side road, and the next side road, and then the road after that you got another sign on those express lanes for another 3 roads. I think it's a good system.
So if you know where you're going or whereabouts it's located, it doesn't mean that that's when you exit the express lanes. You have to exit the express lanes long before that. But I guess, how is I-70? Is that a 4-lane expressway or oh, you said 12 lanes, yes. So right when you're getting into Kansas City. Hey, I went to Kansas City once. There's a river through there, and Lewis and Clark on their expedition stopped in Kansas City, or at that spot on the river. I think they stopped there for 3 days, which was significant. They pay all their crew in brandy, I think, or whiskey, and so they paid all the crew, and so everybody sat around for 3 days and drank it up. Can you imagine getting paid in whiskey? What would you take home? I guess you just live on the river. It was an interesting, the whole journey, the interesting thing was that, yes, a 3-day party. The interesting thing about that was that it was, you know, like you buy something, you buy a new property, and then you want to go explore it. And that's exactly what happened, you know, the Louisiana Purchase. And who was the president in charge at that time? Was it Thomas Jefferson? No, it was I have no idea who it was back then. Anyway, he sent Lewis and Clark, not to be confused with Lois and Clark, the Superman, right? But Lewis and Clark, they went to, yes, it was Thomas Jefferson. Thank you, Suze. I should remember some of these things. I did have a big lesson on it when we were there. I remember being in Switzerland on a press trip and finding out that I was going to be on one to Kansas City when I was in Switzerland. I thought that was interesting. Those days of press trips were quite fun, you know? You'd go from one to the next. Some travel writers just lived on press trips. They would rent a room when they were home, but usually they were on a press trip, and so that's a lot of trips. And they were all comped, you know, so you didn't pay a penny. All your meals, and you could order anything on the menu, and you were encouraged to order all the expensive stuff so that you can write about it and get everybody to want to buy the expensive stuff. And we went to every museum and every exhibit and every tour, and as soon as you'd get to a city, they'd give you a drive around where they'd show you the whole city, you know, like one of those bus tours.
You're talking about your travel days,
Yeah.
travel writer days.
Yeah. I came in and out of the Toronto airport a lot. Or I'd go from Ottawa. As soon as they accept me for a press trip, I'd tell them that, you know, YOW was the Toronto airport and YYZ was the Toronto. Sounds like you enjoyed that job. Oh yes, it was amazing. We were broke. At that time, we had 5 children at home. And it was a lot of work and a lot of noise and no money, a lot of debt. And Scarlett, she would come with me and be my photographer, and so she got a taste of 5-star hotels. We went to Cyprus together and to Tampa and Pensacola area and Mexico, Mazatlan, Mexico.
The most notorious trip, I still find, and the most scary trip in hindsight, is going to Jordan, and she came back on 9/10 through, was it Boston?
Yeah, Boston on American Airlines.
Yeah.
You know, 12 hours later, that was the plane that hit one of those buildings, Twin Towers.
That was very scary.
I wasn't scared because, of
No,
course,
but it didn't happen
only
yet.
in retrospect you see, oh, I was lucky. And the purpose of the trip was to say how safe it was in Jordan. And you know, the next day, how safe Jordan is was totally out the window. It was, you know, although it was safe, it seemed quite safe.
Like that stuff didn't happen in Jordan. It happened in the States.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it wasn't from people from Jordan either.
No, that's true.
They were from Saudi Arabia, I think. Look at how that fog is still there, and it's so dark. It must be a temperature inversion. I wonder if they have a warning, a health warning out for this. I remember in San Francisco, the fog would roll in and it was so dark, and I wonder if it was holding pollution down too, if that's why it was so darn ugly. I really did not like San Francisco because of the fog. It would roll in and roll out. This is a pretty nice parking lot. It's, you know, sometimes we drive so slowly along here and I feel like I should just get out and pick up some of the trash along the side of the road. But you know, our highways are really clean. You know, they really are clean.
Not close to home. It's trash all over. You keep picking it up. Nancy keeps picking it up.
Oh, right at our house, people throw their garbage out the windows. But on the highways like this, you don't see trash. I've been to other highways like Detroit, and the road's all broken up, or it was, and there was so much trash. There would be a fence between the whatever in it, and they would be full of trash along the side of it. I was in Mexico once, and Real de 14, which I hear is very dangerous now because of the Mexican mafia. Anyway, I was there and I got out of the bus. I stopped at this beautiful pullover, beautiful view, and I asked him to take a picture of me, and he said, "Oh yes, wait just a minute," or no, I was taking a picture, whatever. And he reached down and picked up a 2-liter bottle, a plastic bottle, and to get it out of the picture, and he threw it across into the valley, you know, across the cliff. I couldn't believe it. I was so shocked. I guess when they say that, you know, this country is so many years ahead of that country, you know, like, I think in the US we would have music that would come to Canada maybe 10 years later, or it would be big. Is that true? This was before the internet,
Right. Yeah.
when you just had the radio.
It might have been true. Maybe less. Maybe less now. I can't imagine that takes that long now.
No, now you get everything off of
Yeah.
iTunes or something, so everything is instantaneous. It's getting hot in here. What's the temperature? 11? Is that all? Oh. At 10, we light the wood stove. Look, there I am. Hi. It's pretty dirty. Hey, now this is where I should blow bubbles. Where are my bubbles? I have to look around for them. Were we in this car the other day when we had the bubbles?
It's okay.
And we're still in downtown. This is Yonge Street, is right in the very center of Toronto. It was the first street north in Canada, or in this area anyway. You know, I looked at a map in the township offices the other day, and it was a map of something like 1850 or something in the area, and there was the road that we live on wasn't there, and Highway 7 and the 401, they weren't there. It was very must have been really hard to go far. Well, I guess people just didn't go far. It's amazing to have fog at this time of day. Or smog. But they do have leaves on their trees. Some of them. See over here? There we go. The beautiful leaves. I never used to hear anybody honking their horn in Canada, unless it was an emergency. But now, after the pandemic, I find lots of people honk their horns now.
I guess their nerves are frayed or something. I don't know why. But proper use of the horn is actually to warn of impending danger, or if somebody has done something really stupid, just a quick beep on the horn just to let them know, hey, wait a minute, you know. But if somebody does something
But
wrong,
not after the fact. Like if they're sort of pulling into your lane and going to hit you, you know, then you beep. If
No,
it's
even-
obvious they didn't see you.
even if they missed you, you can still honk. Until a short honk, I think that's not that good sometimes.
Is that's what the law is about the horns?
I don't.
Or are there laws about that?
I'm not sure what the laws are. I don't imagine you're allowed to honk extensively if you're annoyed. And this is a bad thing too, because that's why you get road rage. But if somebody else has just done things, it's good to let them know, because then they can say, oh, wait a minute, you know.
Can you imagine living in downtown Ottawa and having those horns they were going off 24 hours a day? People have phantom honking in their ears now. She says, I think drivers are more rude in the US. People here are pretty courteous, but not like
Well.
Holland. Holland, they're really courteous. If you see somebody's blinker on, you automatically let them in, always. It was amazing to watch that. Here, people usually wait while somebody else pulls out of their parking space if they're ahead of you, and they're not in a hurry to go past you first. If you're going out and they're just trying to get out of their thing, people stop and wait. Except the other day somebody didn't, and it really stood out to me how rude. How rude. But there is road rage in Canada too. But you know, all those little videos we used to see about, you know, people leaving flyers on or there was warnings, you know, people would put a flyer on somebody's windshield so that when you get in your car and you've got your key on, you got your car going, and then you notice that there's something under your windshield wiper, and so then you get out and somebody steals your car. Well, that doesn't happen here. Or somebody hiding in your back seat. I don't think those things happen at all. If Lake Ontario went dry, I don't think they'd find any bodies in barrels in the bottom of it. Do you?
No idea. I mean, they have organized crime here just as well as.
Yeah, but it's not very much.
Well, just because we don't have much of a population.
Yeah, but there's not very many. Like,
It may be a little bit less, but.
well, it's tons less. Like Toronto, I think I feel very safe in Toronto, walking the streets any time of day or night. When we were in Houston, I thought Houston was probably pretty dangerous, but we were staying at a very fancy hotel. This was my travel writing days. And what was the name of that one? St. Regis, Houston. And we were told that the neighborhood was very safe. You could walk around the neighborhood at after dark, so we did. By myself, it was fine. It was a nice neighborhood. I guess it was pretty upscale or something. And
But you think that any big city has areas where you would rather not want to go, right? So
Right.
in Canada as well, I think there's
I don't think
like
there's a dangerous place
downtown
of.
downtown East Side, Vancouver, East Side, Vancouver.
Yeah,
right?
Vancouver. Yeah.
But there's regions everywhere, every city. I'm pretty sure.
Is there
I-
one
I
in
just-
Toronto?
I don't know.
I don't think so. Queen Street is about the worst street, but I don't think it's dangerous. I think it's a lot of.
In Ottawa, you have Vanier and you have Edmonton Road.
Yeah, but they're not they're not dangerous like that.
Well,
I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe they are. I don't know. But you never hear about them on you know.
of course, yeah. Of course, I never really went out at night in those sort of areas.
Like some places, like West Hartford, you don't even want to drive there. It's supposed to be so dangerous. Or is that East Hartford? Anyway, part of Hartford, downtown. Canada, nobody obeys the speed limit. They usually go 15 kilometers an hour over the speed limit, whatever it is.
Or more, or 20.
Or
something.
yeah.
20 is standard. They won't blink an eye. But I prefer the way they do it in Holland. Like in Holland, you got the speed limit, which is reasonable. Like the speed limit is 100 here, 100 kilometers, a little over 60 miles an hour, I think. Like that. In Holland is 120, which is about 75.
And that's
But you go a little bit over, and you get a ticket. But you know what you're going to be expecting, right? So the speed limit matches reality.
the man that attacked the Speaker of the House's husband, Paul Pelosi, is from Canada.
Yeah, I read that too. It's amazing.
Interesting. Why would he be so interested? I think the violence is trying to get a hold in Canada. There's a lot of anti-Trudeau stuff that came up with those truckers. They said how wonderful a time they had and how peaceful it was, but there was a lot of malicious things said about Trudeau. Look, here's another one of those foggy things. Why would the fog be here, Willem? How does fog work? It comes. The water's cooler.
There's warm air with lots of water vapor in it, and it mixes with colder air, and then the water vapor can't hold as much water vapor.
Is that like the dew point?
Same as clouds, basically. The fog is same as clouds.
Okay.
So.
In the South, you used to see lots of very old cars on the road, as well as new cars. But here, their cars are not very old. I mean, ours is pretty old. Ours is a 2007, so it's 13 years old, or no, 15 years old, which is pretty old now. But if you look at all the rest of the cars, most of the cars don't look very old.
But ours have rust on them now too, and the rust is kind of starting to eat away at them. So.
Well, it's because I'm thrifty. I Willem too, right? I don't want to pay thousands and thousands of dollars for a car. Loses half its value when you go off the lot.
But Toyotas are pretty good. Like for Toyotas, it makes sense. I think because you can keep them going for a long time.
Right, but they're not. They still, if you buy them new, they'll be double the price at the next, the day before.
Therefore, it keeps to keep them going, and therefore you can get if you're all rusted out, no matter how good the parts on the inside are. I'm not sure you can work, but you probably ditch them. It's good to maintain the body, right? Maybe you can maintain the body.
Yeah, with my Dodge Dart, it was 25 years old when when it died. I had repainted it. I had sanded down all the rust, and I gave it a whole new paint job in Connecticut. Remember that? Billy had a paint sprayer or a air pressure thing. Anyway, whatever it was, I could paint the car with it, so I did.
So now going 110 in 100 kilometers zone. It's about 70 miles an hour or so.
And people are going faster.
Yeah, this guy wants to pass me, so I'm going to have to move over a bit. First I have to move in front of him. Oh, he's going to pull up trains anyway. Okay, so I can't go back. I can't go in front. So I'm going to keep going. I
always get in the second lane and let this lane
I was going to do it,
its
but
thing.
this guy was in the way.
Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, I see. He was reading our car. That's why he kept looking at us.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That's why he was beside it. I guess we're a bit of a distraction factor. But I think all these cars are coming up on you and want to get around.
Well, okay, let's go on. Just move and move and move and move. I'm still within ticket speed, below ticket speed. Oh, there's an accident right there. Fire truck.
We have to slow down for rubbernecking purposes. There was a fire hose out.
Morningside Avenue. So we just sort of exiting the Toronto proper
Yes,
area.
Markham is the next city.
Markham is more like north of here, right? We can go into
Right, we don't go.
Pickering. We go to Pickering.
Oh, okay.
And Ajax.
I didn't realize that it was north of here.
I believe so. I might be wrong, but
4 Meadows to Meadowvale, 7 to Whites, 20, 18 now to Salem. Those are roads. I like it when they do that, although I never know what it's supposed to be, so it's always new. Look, that says it's 18 degrees Celsius, 50, no. What does it say? At 422, it's 10 degrees Celsius. Oh my. Degrees Fahrenheit. 10 is 50 and 20 is 70 and 30 is
well,
about 90, almost, no.
85 or something like that. Yeah. And 20 is maybe 7. 70 is about 21, I think. 80 is about 27. That is about 32, something like that. Fahrenheit to Celsius. So here I do go 74, 75 miles.
It's 78 degrees Fahrenheit in Kansas today. Did you get a cold snap before, or is this a cold snap? When does it start cooling off after the summer?
Okay, so now we're gonna go along this lane. Is that bus?
See how clean the road is? There's no trash.
Anyways, we're gonna probably stay behind that truck
Okay.
unless it gets quieter.
You can use the cruise control if you feel like it.
Yeah, no, not yet because the traffic is too busy. People are slowing down, speeding up. Too much. Fiddle busy too much. So just gonna go
Well, my arm is getting tired of holding this camera, so I'm going to go. But I will come and make another video in a little while. I want to write down my experience in the temple today, and then I can make another video. What did you say? We had 2 frosts, but now it's hot again. My tropical flowers are still blooming. I'd never had this happen. What does the car say the temperature is?
10 now, which is
10.
about 50.
Yeah.
We had.
It was 15 at the temple, though, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
But it was below freezing this morning, -1 or something.
Yeah, we had frost on our windows. And I had to.
Had to
I
defrost them.
I didn't have to scrape it off. I just think the defroster was good enough.
Okay, I gotta write in my journal before I forget stuff, and then I can get on and talk to you. Okay. Love you guys. See you later. Thanks for showing up. Bye.